You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 today. Looking for some great Christmas gifts? Well, you can find them at the CECIL FLOYD Craft Fair this Saturday, and we have the details.
It's outside right now with as cold as it is. Luckily, that sunshine beginning to warm us up, and we'll eventually end up in the 50s. And we'll take a look at your weekend forecast from the Skywatch Weather Center.
All right, but first, Silver Dollar City shuts down for the day after a fire damages 3 buildings. We'll have all of that and more coming up.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thanks for joining us for the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. I'm Tanya Bach. Silver Dollar City shut down for the day Thursday due to 2 fires. Workers discovered the fire from Heartland Home Furnishings to Flossie's Fried Fancies in the lower western portion of the park. 3 buildings were damaged. Authorities are still working to determine the exact cause of the fire. The park will open today as scheduled. Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt commutes the death sentence of condemned inmate Julius Jones. Crowds erupted in celebration over the decision near the prison in McAllister, where Jones is being held. Jones was set to be executed yesterday afternoon, but Governor Stitt announced his decision just hours before, after widespread support for Jones from the public and even some celebrities. Jones was convicted and sentenced to death for the 1999 murder of Paul Howell in Edmond. Jones and his family have maintained he is innocent, saying the description of the suspect by a witness did not match Jones at the time. Howell's family believes Jones was responsible. The Joplin Youth Council is encouraging families to read over Thanksgiving. The council on Thursday hosted a literacy event for families with children between the ages of 3 and 10. Families were asked to donate a book that will be passed along to area organizations working with children on reading.
We have like a literacy initiative, primarily just trying to increase literacy within the Joplin area and also promote a love for learning and reading. So this is just our first kickoff event where we just hope to engage the youth within our community.
To join the Joplin Youth Council, a student must be a Joplin resident and in 10th through 12th grade at a Joplin school. A downtown Joplin building is getting a new look. The Alliance of Southwest Missouri is resuming fundraising for a remodel of its building on 1601 South Wall. The Alliance was forced to bring a temporary end to the campaign due to the pandemic, but it's back on again with a goal to raise $25,000 by the end of the year.
They're excited. They see the potential for their programs and how they can better serve their clients with the building. And so they're very excited for this to be finished so that they have access to run their programs more efficiently and effectively.
The building is around 116 years old. A rare first edition print of the U.S. Constitution sold for $43 million in a Sotheby's auction, far more than the original estimate of $15 to $20 million. Cryptocurrency Group had used an experimental software to crowdsource more than $46 million for the artifact, but failed to secure the winning bid. If the group had won, it would have put the document's future in the hands of a group of more than 17,000 individuals, rather than one wealthy investor, as typically happens with auctions of this magnitude. That's pretty cool.
It's pretty cool, but it honestly, at the end of the day, you have to remember it doesn't matter who buys it. Don't Nicolas Cage comes and steals it?
Maybe.
With the help of the woman who actually despises him at the beginning, but then ends up falling in love with him, despite the fact that his family is known for having these wild theories about the founders of the country. Are you telling me National Treasure isn't a real life story?
I'm just trying to think of something to say.
Disney did it. Here. I thought this thing was, next thing you know, you're going to tell me Aladdin's not a real person.
Oh.
Give up on this.
Oh, yeah.
Hey, we were talking about that overnight low that we had the other day. You can double box this, it's cool. We were talking about that overnight low, and I said, oh yeah, you got to go all the way back to Saturday, the last time we got that cold. Well, we actually bottomed out at 27 degrees. And for that, we got to go back to March 1.
All right.
So,
turning the calendar back finally.
Right there. We finally did get a little calendar movement because I know it was so unimpressive when I was like, the last time this cold was Saturday.
Right.
Right, yeah. The last time we actually got this cold as of tonight, we've got to go all the way back to March 1. Our high temperatures, and this is kind of impressive because of the fact that we're getting ready to push into that latter third of November. Our average high dropped half a degree yesterday simply because of that 51. I mean, that was the coldest high of the month, I should say. Say hello to the glow cloud as it makes its way over Television City. We've got some serious frost on the ground out there. I think it'll kind of be illuminated here in just a little bit. We'll get kind of a pretty good shot of it. Our temperatures ranging anywhere from about 23 to 31. And earlier we had Joplin and Carthage above the freezing mark. We're getting our little pre-sunrise dip right now. 27 in Miami, and let's go 28 in Fort Scott. Skywatch Storm Tracker, remember, that's the reflectivity, just a little moisture finally beginning to be picked up. Earlier this morning, the sweeping radar wouldn't even pick any of that up. We were so dry. And we're starting to see a little bit of cloud cover make its way toward us. That cloud cover is going to be very important tonight because sunny skies lift us up into the mid-50s. But once we get the clouds, it keeps us from dropping down below freezing overnight. Then we set up for a great weekend. Partly sunny skies. High Saturday around 61, that rain on Sunday. We'll break that down here in just a little bit, but 95% of the 4 states is going to remain dry. Don't you dare say that about the Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Oh, well, that story is...
I got carried a laugh on that one.
And so is Cinderella. And
Beauty and the Beast is a true love story. Do you remember the remake of The Wizard of Oz that Disney did?
No.
I think it was like 1985.
Well, up next, many families look to celebrate Thanksgiving this year while trying to make it a safe one. And later, Missouri Town mourns the loss of what many called its town's welcoming committee. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Many family and friends looking to spend Thanksgiving together this year are wondering how to celebrate safely and whether to host a holiday gathering with loved ones who are unvaccinated for COVID-19. Laura Podesta has more on how to navigate the situation.
Danica Brown was looking forward to getting together with her entire extended family for Thanksgiving. But then she found out to receive an invite, she had to get the COVID-19 vaccine. Why were you hesitant?
Just because it was so new.
A recent poll of more than 2,000 people, including more than 1,400 who are vaccinated, shows half are hesitant to spend the holidays with unvaccinated family and friends.
If you take some pretty simple steps, you can actually get together with your family indoors without a mask. The risk will not be nil, but it will be much, much, much lower than it could be.
Dr. William Hanage with Harvard T.H. Chan School of Public Health puts vaccination at the top of that list.
If you're not vaccinated, or if you're around people who aren't for whatever reason, you can reduce risk by things like using rapid tests. People can take a rapid test before coming to the Thanksgiving meal.
Gather outdoors if possible. If you're indoors, open the windows if weather allows, and consider getting a HEPA air purifier. Dr. Hanage says it's important to remember the risk is not the same for everyone.
If you're going to a Thanksgiving party with older, vulnerable relatives, I do encourage you to make sure that you're vaccinated, to try and avoid becoming infected in the run-up, and to take a rapid test before you get in there, because that will help ensure that you do not transmit the virus to people who could suffer severe disease, even those who are vaccinated.
Danica decided to get the shot. Did you choose to get the vaccine because you wanted to be protected or specifically to go to Thanksgiving dinner?
I literally got it to go to Thanksgiving dinner.
She's thankful to be spending the day with family this year. Laura Podesta, CBS News.
Experts say we should expect to see a surge of COVID cases after Thanksgiving, but hopefully the consequences will be different than last year because people who are vaccinated are more protected against serious illness, hospitalization, and death. Well, on Wednesday, members of the Blue Man Group flipped the lever to symbolically light the Empire State Building blue to mark the group turning 30. They were founded in 1987 by 3 guys in New York City. The group chose the color called Klein Blue because it has a neutrality about it. according to Tim Miller, head of artistic direction of Blue Man Group New York. Blue Man Group's first performance was in Central Park. The three friends sent a press release to MTV, and a host of the news segment there decided to cover the event. Theater performances started in 1991, and the group's popularity caught fire. Miller describes the Blue Men as nonverbal characters. Blue Man Group is owned by Cirque du Soleil.
Really? Cirque du Soleil owns the Blue Man Group name?
I did not know
I
that.
had no idea. That's interesting. I wonder how old the three original members of Blue Man Group are.
I wonder how many times they change the
I've been to a
members.
show there. It's tremendously fun. Our good friend Emmett Sullivan sending us a wonderful picture of the partial lunar eclipse. It's 97, 98% is what we saw. And the amazing thing about our lunar eclipse this morning was the duration of it, lasting more than 3 hours. The longest lunar eclipse we've had in almost 500 years. Over Joplin, we sit at 31 degrees right now. Well, now that we're done with the lunar eclipse, let's talk about the sunshine, see if we can't do something about this, as it is a tad bit chilly outside, ranging from 23 in Parsons and Neodesha, Joplin and Carthage right below the freezing mark, but right now our clubhouse leaders at 31, 27 in Miami, and 29 in Nevada. But just give it a little time here and we'll head in the right direction, make it way up into the mid-50s. Partly sunny skies today, cloud cover overnight. It's going to help us out if you're out for high school football or social events, as our overnight lows stay in the 40s. We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this. Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News. We're getting to that time of year here as we approach the holidays where, and I know it's really beginning to ramp up now. For those of you that are looking to decorate, for those of you that are looking for marvelous gifts, we've got a number of craft fairs throughout the 4 states, and one of those has become an extreme staple. And the reason I'm going to call it a staple, I'll explain here in just a little bit. But first, I want to welcome in Reagan Gillette. Reagan, thank you. Number one, thank you so much for your time early this morning. And number two, I realized this morning it's 30 years for the CECIL FLOYD Craft Fair. Congratulations, number one, 30 years.
Yeah, it's awesome. We have such great support. It's great.
Now, I know you've been involved with this for several years by yourself, but now you're in charge of the coordination and whatnot. But as you reflect upon this in your time there, what does it mean when you look at something that makes 3 decades of sustainability, success, and obviously popularity worth it? Why did you want to be a part of this?
Well, you know, it comes down to the kids, comes down to the school. We love our school, and we want to do whatever we can to help support the kids and the teachers that teach our kids, to have the best resources available, to have the most opportunities. And so when this craft show came along for me, I knew I had to participate because I know what the benefits are. I've seen it firsthand. My kids have felt it. So I wanted to make sure that I did my part to keep it going. And when you have such loyal vendors and loyal customers that have been coming since kids have grown up, with grandparents and parents doing this, it's so much fun. You want to be a part of it.
Well, one thing I want to touch upon are the vendors, because folks at home, if you have never been to the CECIL FLOYD Craft Show, you may think, oh, what, we have like 10 to 15 people like in the cafeteria set up like that. No, there's a magical number that Reagan and her coordinating crew were able to eclipse this year. So Reagan, I'll let you give us the specifics on the number of vendors you're going to have on Saturday.
It is incredible, the show up we've had this year. I think the max that I've seen since I've been doing it is 100 and something. And we're at over 125 now. And these are not just your regular vendors. These are handcrafted people that spend blood, sweat, and tears making decor, making doggy sweaters from hand, homemade, you name it, jewelry, body care. It's all over the board. It's wonderful.
That is amazing. 125 vendors. One of the things I love to talk about is you do this very unique thing called an early bird special. Essentially, what we're asking you to do, folks, come out early, because Reagan's going to tell us about a lot of things you can take advantage of by showing up early.
Yeah, it's worth it. And the early birds are ready to go. 8 o'clock. Our regular opening is at 9, and the entry is a $3 per person donation. But early bird's wonderful because if you've ever come, you know that there's not great parking, a lot of street parking, and we have the parking, but it's kind of crazy. But people love to get there early, get a great parking spot. Above and beyond that, you get first opportunity to shop for a whole hour, and with a lot less crowd. And there's certain specific booths people love to congregate to, and although we have some awesome ones this year, but there's some specific ones they go in straight to find, and so they get that opportunity to get there first. Secondly, or next, they get the raffle items that we're doing this year are incredible, and so they get first dibs on that too. So first dibs on the options on the raffle table to pick what they want, and we have multiple raffle announcements every hour this year.
Yeah, I want to get to the raffles, but folks, what Reagan is telling us, all we have to do is show up at 8 o'clock, and remember that $10, that's a donation. I don't want anybody thinking about that as an entry fee. That is a donation helping out our 4-state kids right there. And I'm all about the parking. You had me sold when you're like, Michael, you're going to get a parking spot. I'm like, I'm doing the early bird special.
It's crazy.
For some people who may not be able to make it early in the morning, I understand you're going to continue those raffle prizes though throughout the course of the day, right?
All day long with 125 vendors and an 8-hour show. We've got plenty of time and a lot of stuff to give away.
So in other words, if I do my math right, we may be doing more than a raffle an hour.
Oh, 100%. I was doing the math too. I'm thinking, if we can do 4 or 5 an hour, that's about where we're at.
Reagan's going to start giving stuff away, people. That's why you need to go check it out. Once again, CECIL Floyd Craft Fair, the 30th year, and the early bird special that Reagan was telling us about. And Reagan, correct me if I'm wrong here. 8 o'clock is when you're going to open the door for us early birds, right?
That's right. For a $10 entry fee, you get your entry, gives you a ticket, that goes into the raffle. It's not an extra cost to get into the raffle.
And then at 9, the doors open and we rock and roll.
Wide. That's right. It's going to be great. Don't forget to come get cinnamon rolls. If nothing else, come get your famous cinnamon rolls.
Oh, you know I'm going to buy. You know I'm in for that. Once again, more than 125 vendors taking place tomorrow, this Saturday. The CECIL Floyd Craft Fair, their 30th year. Reagan, number 1, congratulations. Number 2, thank you so much for your time this morning.
Thanks, Michael. Appreciate it.
We'll be back with more KOAM Morning News right after this.
It's time to honor today's 4-state hero, Teddy Parsons from West Mineral, Kansas. Airman First Class Parsons served from 1955 to 1963. He earned a Marksman Award, a Good Conduct Award, and an Airman Achievement Award. To Airman First Class Teddy Parsons, we thank you. Today's 4-state hero. Well, the Census Bureau says a small Missouri town is the epicenter of the U.S. population. Hartville was founded in 1832 and is home to about 600 people. The Bureau identified the town as the heart of America based on the 2020 population of approximately 331 million people. Census Bureau has calculated the center of population every 10 years since the first ever survey in 1790. Back then, it was in Kent County, Maryland. But thanks to Western expansion, towns in Missouri have been named the center of the nation since 1980. Now, it represents the point at which an imaginary, flat, and rigid map of the U.S. would balance perfectly if every American were of identical weight. It helps the Bureau figure out how fast and in which direction people are moving around the nation. So this is not the geographical center, it's the population center. That's pretty cool. Well, a Missouri community is mourning the loss of a dog who served as its welcoming committee. We're told a car hit and killed Ironton's Ike, the panhandling dog, on Monday. You might remember Ike. Noel Williams reports on how the community is reacting to this tragic accident.
For 10 years, never got hit.
Take a look at Ike. We featured him in a story back in April. The dog, known for laying at the intersection of Highway 72 and Highway N, will no longer be at this three-way stop after his owner, Sherry Miller, says he was hit by a car on Monday.
I pry. That's all I could do.
Miller tells me Ike was a staple to Ironton, and this sign that stands in front of where he would often rest quickly turned to a memorial by community members.
Oh, look, I didn't notice that. There's dog bones. Me and my husband went to St. Louis this morning, and we got back, and it's blown up. They come and put flowers up here. They've got a GoFundMe page to get some kind of statue memorial.
I'll talk to Ironton Mayor Bob Lorwood, and he tells me it's going to take the city time to adjust to him being gone.
Now that he's gone, again, it's taken away, like I said, a landmark, something that we're used to. It was always fun to see him there, and it was also fun to see people who weren't used to the area stopping and trying to pick him up and trying to get him to come to him with hamburgers and pizza.
Rilla says it warms her heart to see so many people that cared about Ike. And although he's gone, she wants his memory to be a happy one, a lot like him.
People tell you all the time, I come back and he made me smile and he did something silly and I laughed. And that's what I want people to think when they think about him.
I remember when we first aired the story about Ike. There's a special dog for that community. Another half hour of news and weather is just ahead. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14, Lauren Slam from the Girl Scouts of America stopped by to tell us about the organization, its fall line of products, and give us a sneak peek at a new cookie. You're gonna like this one. And Game On, a classic Pokemon game duo, gets an update for a new generation of gamers. You're watching the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. We'll be right back.
State's most watched news starts now.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. It's currently 7:32. Let's take a look at today's top stories. Silver Dollar City shuts down for the day on Thursday due to 2 fires. Workers discovered a fire from Heartland Home Furnishings to Flossie's Fried Fancies in the lower western portion of the park. 3 buildings were damaged. Authorities are still working to determine the exact cause of the fire. The park will open today as scheduled. Oklahoma's governor commutes the sentence of death row inmate Julius Jones just hours before Jones's scheduled execution. Republican governor revised the sentence to life in prison without the possibility of parole. This comes more than 2 decades after the 1999 killing of a suburban Oklahoma City businessman. Maria Villarreal reports from the state capitol in Oklahoma City.
Oklahoma Governor Kevin Stitt stepped in at the 11th hour, canceling Thursday's scheduled execution of Julius Jones.
You are worthy, God. Thank you, God.
The decision came after the state's Pardon and Parole Board asked the Republican governor to commute Jones's sentence to life in prison with the possibility of parole.
I am not the person responsible for taking Mr. Howell's life.
On July 28, 1999, Paul Howell was murdered outside his parents' Edmond, Oklahoma home in front of his family. His SUV was stolen, and a witness reported seeing a black man with a red bandana and 1 to 2 inches of hair shoot the father of 2. 3 days later, 19-year-old Julius Jones was arrested. His family says eyewitness descriptions did not match Jones, who at the time had a shaved head. They also say he was at home at the time of the murder. Wednesday, his mother, surrounded by supporters, pleaded for his release.
But the truth will set you free. We talk about justice. Justice for who? Justice for all of us.
Paul Howell's family spoke to CBS ahead of Thursday's decision and believes Jones was responsible for the fatal shooting.
He was an innocent man taking his kids to get ice cream with my aunt, and he was murdered in front of me and my sister and my aunt, all for a car.
This is the first death row clemency case Governor Stitt has faced. Mireya Villarreal, CBS News, Oklahoma City.
A number of celebrities and sports stars had also rallied to save Jones's life. Allison Blevins is an adjunct professor at Missouri Southern, and on Thursday she released her very own poetry book. Blevins says the book, titled Slowly Suddenly, deals with trauma, disabilities, and queer experience. The MSSU English and Philosophy Department hosted the release and a reading by Blevins.
I think of it as like, almost therapy, and I think that readers feel the same way, that you can make a connection with somebody and go, I've been there, I've experienced that, I know the emotion that's being described there, and that maybe it's a bit of catharsis.
Blevins has been nominated for several awards for her writing. Well, Spotify is making it a little easier to karaoke using its streaming app. This is so exciting to me. The service says starting Thursday, its users will have access to real-time lyrics right on its platform. Spotify says the new feature is free and will be available across mobile devices, televisions, gaming systems, and desktop computers. Spotify partnered with music data company Music Match. The company says they added lyrics because it's one of the most requested features from listeners across the globe.
That's pretty cool. I like that.
I use Spotify, and I'm totally going to be taking advantage of this.
You're a Spotify fan?
I am.
Real Pirates just came out on Wednesday. Check it.
Is it a podcast?
Yes.
I haven't really gotten into the podcast yet. I'm just more like the...
Do you like Pirates?
I got a family plan.
Do you like Pirates?
Like, every member of my family has their own account. I love
Really?
it. Absolutely love it. On one account. Yeah.
Who in your family likes Pirates?
So what did they actually talk about pirates?
It's like, this is historical,
historical pirates?
Yes.
So maybe Pirates of the Caribbean is a real Disney thing.
Oh my gosh, so I'm listening to this last night. There were so many motifs and everything, and I'm not a pirate expert. Sorry folks, I didn't mean to jump in your living room. You have to remember Tanya's in the back of the camera here, so that's when I go to talk to her.
And I can't get closer, there's a desk.
There were so many motifs, themes, and plot lines from Pirates of the Caribbean that they were talking about, and I'm like, oh, that's how that matches up like historically in nature.
Well,
and that was just the first episode.
Well, you're asking about Disney movies being real. Pirates are from Disney. So maybe
what do you think the first
National
episode on
Treasure is near
Spotify
real
was about?
too.
The first episode was about Jack Sparrow. No, I'm kidding. It was actually about Blackbeard. But it was really cool. But it traces it back to actually when Blackbeard was a kid growing up as a first mate, and then how he became a pirate. Real Pirates on Spotify. And I don't even, are they a show sponsor? They may be. We'll find out. More KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.
Welcome back. If you are looking for those last-minute ideas for just now starting your Christmas shopping, we've got an idea for you. The Girl Scouts have their fall product line out now. Joining us this morning with all the details, Lauren Slam from the Girl Scouts of the Missouri Heartland. Thank you for joining us, Lauren.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm always excited to talk about Girl Scouts. Something really cool that we're doing is fall product. It's actually something that happens every year, and it kind of gets overlooked because it is a secret. It's only a friends and family sale, so you have to know a Girl Scout, or maybe there's one in your neighborhood. Make sure to reach out to her because you don't want to miss out. We have 16 different products ranging from magazines, candies, chocolates, nuts. I have the chocolate raisins in my room right now. Always got to have some on me. But it actually ends really soon. So November 22nd is the cutoff, but it'll be here right in time for the holidays. So make sure to reach out.
And like you said, this is a friends and family sale. So if you know someone who knows a Girl Scout, get with them very soon.
Oh, yeah. Or sign up a Girl Scout. That's another great way to
Hey,
get
that's
them.
a great
Always
idea.
make sure.
And I'm assuming Girl Scouts take sign-ups year-round.
Yes, we do. Our main season is fall, so we're kind of getting to the end of that, but we have extended it to December. But you really can join anytime. Just make sure to find a troop near you, and you can find that out online on our website.
And Girl Scouts is always evolving and doing different activities and stuff. Do you want to highlight some of the things that Girl Scouts are known for and what they have planned for the spring?
Oh yeah, I mean, the number one thing that we're known for obviously is cookies, and we did launch a new one, which is in my room. This is the Adventurefuls. It is a brownie-inspired caramel cream top CECIL accented cookie. It is amazing. I wish I could share through the screen, but that's kind of our biggest thing. It does start in January and it ends in March, so it's coming up. It's right around the corner. Something else that we're really known for is our summer camps, which are just outstanding. If you've ever gotten the chance to go or to tour, we have rope courses, zip lines, teaching girls to shoot bow and arrows, canoeing. Like, it's insane how much we really make sure to hit on those main focus points like STEM, the outdoors, relationships, developments. It's so broad.
Well, and the big thing about the cookie sales too, those start in January. It's not just about buying and selling cookies. It's about teaching girls how to basically run their own business, how to, have those social skills, how to get out there, to look outside the box, and, to grow.
Exactly. You get it completely. It's all about goal setting. We actually have 5 different five different goals that girls learn, like 5 essential skills: goal setting, decision making, money management, people skills, and business ethics. And they learn that all through the cookie program as they age, from daisies all the way up to our senior ambassadors. They learn different skills along with the cookie program that kind of match their age range.
All right. And speaking of cookies, you were telling me a little bit about some girls that made a cookie donation recently.
Yes. So actually this past cookie season, we did a fun incentive that girls could opt out of earning the prizes that you can get from selling cookies. So sometimes you can earn like a bike, or you can earn a t-shirt. But these girls opted out to donate cookies to their favorite organizations and charities. So I'm just going to name them. They're in the area. So Lainey Sperry, Emily Little, Zoe Timmons, Anna Woods, Aubrey Fadley, Abby Clark, Addison Cotton, Bonnie Chapman, and Katie Chapman. Oh. And they all made the donation, which is just outstanding. It's amazing that we have girls like that want to make an impact in their community at all times.
Well, Lauren, I'm really glad that we could give them a shout out, because that just shows how they're giving back and growing as young women as well. That's awesome. Anything else you'd like to add?
Actually, yes. Download the Cookie Finder app. Ooh. So that you never miss a chance out of finding your Girl Scout cookies near you. You get to buy them local. So just go in the App Store, Cookie Finder, and it should say Girl Scouts on it, and it has a little Thin Mint on it, so you kind of know. It also does the countdown, which is really nice. That way you'll know where in your area cookie season starts, and you can find booths near you, which is really convenient.
All right, sounds like a plan. Download the Cookie Finder app today. All right, and remember, the fall sales for the fall products end on November 22nd, so get on that very quickly. Thank you so much for joining us this morning, Lauren.
Thank you for having me.
All right, we'll be right back. There's a new forecast for global economic growth. Barclays predicts economic growth will total 6% this year and 4.4% next year. The bank cited progress on medical treatments, reducing the strain on hospitals and preventing new lockdowns. Fewer Americans filed for unemployment benefits last week. According to the Labor Department, first-time filings for weekly jobless claims fell by 1,000 to 268,000. While it moves the needle only slightly from the prior week, it marks a new pandemic-era low. More than 10,000 workers at John Deere will soon be back on the job after a majority of union members voted to accept the company's final offer. The vote will end a 5-week-long strike. This offer includes an immediate 10% raise, an $8,500 signing bonus, along with 5% bumps in pay in years 3 and 5 of the 6-year-long deal. John Deere will also restore a cost of living adjustment to help protect workers from increases in consumer prices. We'll be right back with more after this, but first, let's take a look at the market prices before the opening bell.
If you've got a gamer in your life, or maybe you're asking for a friend, you're extra busy this weekend, that's probably because there's a new Pokemon game that's out. Our man Rick Demagello with the breakdown.
Pokemon trainers can once again explore the Sinnoh region to try and catch them all in Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl.
These are two games that are based off of the Nintendo DS originals, Pokemon Diamond and Pearl, and they've been buffed up and shined, as you would say. What they've done is they've definitely traded big on the nostalgia, and they've made a conscious effort to make this game look kind of like we imagined the classic games to look like. So we've got a top-down perspective. We've got this chibi, big-headed, cutesy art style to the characters, and it looks like the classic Pokemon experience. Pokemon has always been a series that has traded on nostalgia. You know, it's a game series that really understands that people start playing these games when they're quite young, and they stay with them until they share them with their own children, you know? And I think that's one of the cool things about Pokemon Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl is that there's going to be a lot of players that played these games originally that are going to share them with the younger generation.
Catching them all in Hollywood, I'm Rick Damagella.
Here's a picture that was taken by our good friend Emmett Sullivan of our partial lunar eclipse that we had overnight. Absolutely gorgeous. Emmett taking this about 3:05, just about at its max right there. You see the red hues. Turned out to be just a wonderful morning for it, albeit a cold one as we take a live look at our conditions. Over 7th and Rangeline right now, still below the freezing mark, 31 degrees. As a matter of fact, there's a whole lot of other people that are under the freezing mark. Here's a look at our temperatures right now, ranging anywhere from 23 in Parsons being one of our low spots, Joplin and Carthage, Lamar and Pittsburgh. 31 is as good as we get, 27 in Miami, and Monette right behind all our clubhouse leaders, but Monette only at 30 degrees as well. Factor in the wind that has now shifted, working in from the north-northwest, and we actually got as low as 14 degrees earlier this morning. Now everybody in between about 17 and 21, but the nice thing is when we look at the Skywatch Storm Tracker is that we're clear as a bell, so the sunshine is going to finally begin to take effect. Little cloud cover beginning to move in from the west and to the north. And so as we graduate through the course of our day and give you an idea from the national perspective here, the clouds are going to kind of follow the jet stream, make their way from west to east. The sunshine still able to penetrate it though and bring our temperatures up into about the mid-50s, honestly, by the time we get to this afternoon. And the cloud cover really does help as it's going to trap in a lot of that heat and keep our overnight lows from getting too low. Now, for those of you that have outdoor activities for tonight and maybe a little high school football, we can take a look at our high school football forecast. Going to be absolutely great. Don't have to worry about dropping below the freezing point. Are going to pick up some southerly gusts of 20+ miles per hour. As we push into the weekend, what we'll see are temperatures that on Saturday are going to raise up all the way around 60 degrees. And so it's going to be absolutely delightful. And then a 7-day forecast that'll have us around 60 on Sunday, and only about 5% of the 4 states will even see any rain. We'll be back, wrap up this edition of the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14 right after this.
Yes.
Welcome back to the KOAM Morning News on Fox 14. Here's what's happening today. In a landmark vote, House Democrats passed President Biden's multi-trillion-dollar Build Back Better bill. A massive social spending bill, which includes money for items including universal pre-K, childcare, healthcare, and climate change, still needs to go to the Senate for consideration. In Georgia, defense attorneys for the 3 men accused of killing Ahmaud Arbery rested their case after calling a total of 7 witnesses, including the defendant who fatally shot Arbery. Travis McMichael, his father, and their neighbor each face 9 charges, including murder. With just hours to spare, the governor of Oklahoma called off the execution of Julius Jones. Jones has been on death row, proclaiming his innocence for nearly 20 years in the 1999 murder of a businessman during a carjacking. Jones was 19 at the time of his arrest. Let's check in with Michael. Final look at your forecast.
Tanya, you know what else is going on today? Burgers and Badges at Fire Station #1 in Pittsburgh, Kansas. Please come join us. We'll be out there for the KOAM News at noon. This all benefits the Children's Advocacy Center. For $5, we're going to hook you up with cheeseburger, chips, and a drink.
Awesome.
And remember, All those proceeds go to help the Children's Advocacy Center. And by the time we roll out there, Tanya, we're talking mid-50s. Going to be absolutely delightful. And remember, we avoid the freezing point overnight.
All right, well, there we go.
Nah, go back. Come on, we can fit it in. Let's have fun. It's Friday. Come on, control room. Yeah, let's roll.
Okay, Friday might be a day to go for a stroll on the boardwalk. It's National Play Monopoly Day. Yes. National Day calendar says Elizabeth Maggie created Monopoly in 1902. Parker Brothers began manufacturing it, and it has allowed estimated 500 million people to play the game since 1935.
All right, so if you got 18 hours on your hands, do that over the weekend.
There's so many versions of Monopoly, too.
All right, we'll be back with more news and weather when we see you at noon.
Have a great morning and an even better day.
Please join Spivak Center for the Arts for